Hey guys, welcome to episode 151 of 4PlayerAnimecast. It is the second part of the summer 2020 season. We are, I guess, already, I want to say, almost done with the reviews, right? Because we only have, I think, one more episode to go. And then we're
Even
pretty
then, I
much,
don't even know if it's going to be full.
yeah, exactly. I think we're barely going to be able to squeeze it out, but we already have some people like Nier and I on the ropes in
Yeah.
terms of in terms of watching series. I know you watched a very interesting one, so we're going to
Yeah.
be talking about a lot of very unique and productive series in this podcast today. But I mean, I think all of the series that we've watched, we're going to talk about in this episode at least. Uh, the anime community at large also kind of are in the know about and kind of have talked about in general. So there's going to be a lot to cover for sure. But yeah, kind of almost already through the first summer season, and surprisingly enough, the weather is just blazing up now, at least where I am. But enough about me. I am here with my compatriots, Dark,
Hey.
Near,
Hi.
and of course, Toast.
Wait, are we starting already?
Yeah.
Yes, we started about like a
Okay.
couple of minutes ago.
Whoops, my bad. Hello, it's me.
All right, yes, everybody's here and ready to start the podcast. Before we do, we just want to go over a little bit about what we did. I guess I'll start. I've actually been. It's very weird because okay, I'm not sure if I've said this on the podcast before, but I'm pretty much the type to like if there's nothing going on or if I have very little on my to-do list, I start kind of oozing into a ball of like a blob essentially. I end up doing nothing, right? In proportionate to what I have to do. And when I have a lot of stuff on my to-do list, I start becoming very hectic and start adding more stuff onto my to-do list. I'm that sort of person. So the past sort of week or so, um, I actually moved house. I am currently in Ohio right now, and I'm pretty much at near end of finishing up everything in terms of moving and setting up whatever I need to set up. And in addition to that, obviously, I've been watching some anime, but I've also played more of some visual novels, especially the usually dungeon crawler, Kami no Rhapsody, the one that was recently translated. And I've been reading some manga, reading some light novel, web novels, dipping my fingers back into those things, and just I've been all over the place. It's been a very hectic week, in both in terms of real life and in terms of what I've been doing, like anime, manga, light novel, web novel sort of stuff. So yeah, I dipped my fingers in a lot of stuff. I'll be talking, of course, about some of the series that the other people have watched and introducing a series that we'll probably have to go through sometime anyways, so I'll take the bullet for it. Anyways, Dark, what were you up to these past 2 weeks?
Um, not a whole lot. Got back into PSO2, prepping for NGS and started playing, haven't done too much more of it, but it's pretty fun. Crossing Void, the like Dengeki Bunko mobile
Didn't
game.
Crossing Void come out a while ago? Why did you get into it now?
It came out in JP, I think in like 2017, but it's
Yeah,
global
exactly. I
now.
was like,
So
okay. Does
it's
it
been global, I think, for I don't think it's been global for more than a year or something. I could be wrong on
did you
that though. But
is the global server just behind, or like how is it paced along with
I
the
haven't
JP
looked
server?
up a single fucking thing. I assume the global server is pretty behind because it doesn't seem that
Hmm.
many characters were added. Now,
Right,
granted, they have
right,
to do sprites for every character because it's based on the fighting game sprites. They kind of
right,
shot
exactly.
themselves in the fucking foot there. I bet they weren't really thinking about that too hard when they decided, oh, we'll just reuse the Dengeki Bunko sprites. It's like, yeah, but whenever you need to add a character that wasn't in Dengeki Bunko, you have to do essentially a full fucking fighting game sprite
How
now.
are you going to how are you going to try to make as much free money as possible? Essentially,
Yeah, we'll use
is the
Dengeki
question I would
Bunko
ask.
sprites. Wait a minute. But yeah, because they just added in the global version Misaki from Raildex, so
Right.
she was not in, I don't believe, either version of Dengeki Bunko. If she was in Ignition, then I certainly wasn't aware of that, but she sure as shit was not in the original.
Right. Right.
So, she seems to be, at least from what I could tell, the first, like, wholly original character, I think. I could be wrong on that. There could be a couple more, but, you know. I'm also not super familiar with the second one that didn't come out in the West anyway. So, but yeah, did that. Been keeping up with Railgun Season 3, which has gotten even better now that there's just zero regard for like shit that happens in Index for the second half of the season. So,
Yeah, I mean,
which is
Railgun is
always when it
always
gets stronger. So,
Railgun. The interesting thing is, it's like, sorry, I'm pulling you off into tangent, but Railgun is, in my opinion, or like, I want to say, for anybody who's read Index, for who's read Railgun, who's sort of in the know in the general whole accelerator, Misaka Mikoto, Hazamura Shiage, Toma, Kamisha Toma, whatever, all that sort of supraverse, right? Um, for anybody who's in tune with that, I think it's pretty obvious that what Railgun has to do all the time is quite hard in terms of balancing act, right? Because it has to sort of be in the index canon, and by that it means like kind of pull in enough index stuff for people to be like, oh, it's index stuff. That's interesting. Blah blah blah. But at the same time, uh, maintain this identity of like four goons, just like schoolgirls, right? Just running around, fucking blowing shit up. And at the
yeah,
same
solving
time,
crime. It's just,
and at the same time, these
X-Men.
schoolgirls have to go on these adventures, which obviously isn't uncommon in Japanese anime, but it still has to be some sort of balance because the schoolgirls do go back and they're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna play on this violin." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's this like there's a juggling act with at least three balls going on, and it is very interesting to me that Railgun did manage to strike a pretty decent balance. Although obviously, with some things you've been telling me recently, some cracks are showing in terms of
Um,
how they're doing.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same way, I guess, with like each of the seasons now, where in the beginning, you have the first like half of the season, which is usually some sort of thing related to Index, like in regards of them being like, but what if we elaborated more? And it's like, yeah, but the problem is that then you have to bring some Index shit into it. Now, granted,
Right,
this
exactly.
season probably did it the best because Toma shows up for like 2 episodes and he like punches a antimatter ball and it stops Makoto from going level 6, and that's like the only part. Whereas
Right.
like, season 2 had the entire like cloning arc retold. It's like that wasn't very fun. Like it was interesting to see Makoto's full perspective, but at the same time it's like I've already seen this before. Like I'm not really here for that. What I'm here for is the second half of the season, which is the Dream Ranker / Indian Poker arc, uh, where it's just a bunch of bullshit that ties to um, just these cards you can have printed out that imprint like a dream you had on it, and you can either sell it or give it to people, and they like rank them based on like how good it is, and how like sort of almost like natural it seems when you're in the dream.
Mhm.
And like people can learn skills overnight with it. They're using it to, they're like, yeah, you can use it to like learn foreign languages and have like fluent conversation with like other speakers and everything. Um, but I was going to just say, as a quick aside, not to linger too long on it, I think that is another thing that Railgun consistently does, especially with the second arcs, where it doesn't even try to be inconsequential to Index. Like it just
Right.
it throws that out of the water and is like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like whatever. Like Toma's in a different fucking country half the time. Who cares? Like we'll do whatever we want with it,
Right,
and they
exactly.
do. So because it's like the Indian poker arc. that's technology that they're showing off that like isn't inconsequential in Index at all, like
Right.
or shouldn't be rather.
Mhm.
And it, as far as my knowledge is, it completely is. It's never shown or mentioned.
It's
Oh
it's
yeah, it's
very
been good.
it's yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think obviously, I mean, that's like one of the only ways that they have to do that because else they're essentially releasing the boogeyman, right? Like once you literally let even just like anything more than a slight sliver of that index sort of again superverse out the door, you're just it's gonna be 15 episodes plus 2 OVAs worth of level 6 shifts. Like
Yeah, and plus it's like
it's done.
yeah, you have
It's over.
that, you have like the ability increases. You have item, which is the mercenary group,
Acceler
like
accelerators just going around just kicking all your clones in the face, and you're like, God damn it.
yeah, I mean, and now it's like accelerators just doing whatever the fuck, and then
Two, yeah.
you have like even recently, like they haven't the one of the more recent episodes is dedicated entirely to Frenda, which spoiler alerts if you watch Index or Railgun and don't know yet, she gets fucking cut in half by Mugino in season 3 and like later just more later on in Index
Mhm.
for like betrayal or something. And they're like, yeah, and it was all part of a plan to have Mugino mentally break down. And it's like, how many times are we gonna have a level 5 just have a mental break? Like, yeah, okay, like that's been a plot point since literally the very beginning, but sure.
Right,
But
exactly.
anyway, the fact that they do that, like they're just like, yeah, we haven't progressed. We're not going to progress past the point of like no return, essentially.
Mhm.
And as far as I know, Railgun doesn't do that, which is nice. So I'm
Right,
hoping it
right.
keeps up with that. I'm hoping they don't fucking. I'm just. Honestly at this point, I don't know where the series goes. I hope it just completely diverges and just pretends like Index hasn't happened, like to any significant extent, where just like characters that are supposed to be dead aren't, because it just way overcomplicates shit once they die,
It's
etc.,
just
etc. But anyway,
anyways, thank you, Dark, for telling us a little bit more about like, the always very interesting franchise that is Raildex. And Nier, what about you? What have you been up to these past 2 weeks?
Oh, playing the ever living shit out of FGO because the summer event came out and it was really fucking long. You had to grind out like 3 different currencies, like just to beat like the story of the event, and yeah, it wasn't great. Um, Other than that, I've been playing Shadowverse. The mini expansion came out like 4 days ago, something like that.
Okay.
Um, it's all right. Uh, some of the cards are a little underwhelming, as
I
per
mean,
usual for Shadowverse mini expansions.
yeah, I mean, long gone are the days when Shadowverse was Dragon Ball Z, essentially.
Yeah. Um, but you know, uh, I don't know how I feel about the meta right now. It's kind of alright. I mean, they nerfed some of the cards that are like really fucking busted, which is cool. But it also took them like super fucking long,
Right,
which is
exactly.
less cool. Um, but also I played one of the decks that were super busted, so that's less cool. Um, but I don't know. It's kind of fun. The new Portalcraft card's cool. New Swordcraft card's cool.
It's just
Um,
Nier likes playing overpowered stuff.
yeah. Um, they reprinted Nephthys in Shadowcraft, which is kind of cool, but she's not as strong, and also Mordecai's like not a thing in rotation, so it kind of doesn't matter. But
Right.
yeah, I mean Shadowverse is still fun. Other than that, right now I'm keeping an eye on. Apparently, the Canadian Conservative Party is deciding to like pick a new leadership today. Um, and they've like apparently run into fucking 800 million complications, and they're delaying it like constantly. But apparently they're supposed to announce it today. Apparently, one of the machines that were counting the ballots like fucking exploded or something. I don't know what happened, but you know, that'll be fun.
Nia, are you okay? Did you get hurt in the explosion?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
But yeah, other than that, not much. You know,
Okay.
just keeping up with current events, as tiring as that is.
The march goes on essentially. But yes, thank
Yeah.
you, Nier, for helping cover our daily dose of current events as well as Shadowverse. And last but definitely not least, Toast. What have you been up to these past 2 weeks?
I think we should all go around and say who our favorite 5th gen VTuber is.
I
Spire, you
haven't
start.
seen like
Spire, you start.
it's probably if I say Aoi, do I get banned here? But no, it's probably Polka,
Oh,
right?
No,
Really?
because we support.
Yeah,
uh,
we support
everything she's
Aloe
on.
here.
Really?
Okay.
So.
Anyways, keep
Yes,
going.
she did
I
nothing
mean, hey
wrong.
man, I
What's
do.
wrong with you?
Fuck
Keep
shitty
going.
contracts.
Yeah,
You know, if
Her-
what she said wasn't true, they would have just gotten rid of her completely.
that is
Apparently, her 2-week suspension is just for leaking the L2D. That's it.
okay. But
Okay. Then yeah, it's all true.
I mean,
Wait, why Polka, Spire? You like
Uh,
clowns?
well, we all have
You like the Joker movie that much?
like the Joker. We all have our reasons. But anyways, Toast. Well,
What?
can we, if you want to, if you can get back.
Dark. Who's your favorite?
Boten.
Okay. Nia,
Second
who's
choice is
yours?
Polka. Does Polka have a slide whistle yet?
Oh.
She's
She would be my
had one.
first if she had a slide
Wait,
whistle.
she has one?
I haven't heard
Nice.
her use a slide whistle
Yeah,
yet.
she's used one.
Fuck. I gotta
Nice.
see that.
Nia, who's yours?
Probably Shishiro. I mean, Polka's a close second. She's pretty powerful, but
But Shishiro is good at
I don't
COD,
know.
so.
Yeah, Shishiro's like an actual gamer, which is pretty cool. But yeah,
But yeah, anyways,
the elf
Toast.
is boring as shit.
Well, they can't all be heroes.
Yeah.
My
like she
favorite
draws
is
every day, bro.
My favorite is Nene. She's pretty cool. I think she has the best singing voice out of the 5 so far.
Well, the standards are not quite high in the VTuber world, but
What are you talking about? She sounds really good.
I don't really see how that makes you good at Call of Duty, but alright.
I don't know, like she has a professional quality to her voice. It's weird. I'm suspicious. Anyway,
Toast, do you want to?
I'm waiting for Nene to drop her Chinese accent. That's when my big bucks will come in.
Toast,
Toast
do you want
has
to tell us?
fucking bets going.
Toast, do you want
What?
to tell us a little bit more about what you did in the past 2 weeks?
Watch VTubers.
Okay.
Oh,
Anything else?
does it have to be anime related?
Not necessarily.
Then I watch VTubers.
Okay. Well,
And
Toast.
I don't know.
Toast didn't decide
Monster
to watch
Hunter. It's
Monster Hunter.
okay.
Okay.
Apparently they're running an event that's all the events that ever happened. So I got 6 weeks to do all the events.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
they
don't know what
usually
that
do
means.
that.
I don't
I
know.
forget when. During like, I think they do it like twice a year or something.
But what else? I got pizza.
Mhm.
$30 pizzas.
I also ended up getting a $30 pizza today, or like a 30-something dollar pizza today.
Yeah, so why were you acting like I was insane that I was spending $30 on pizza?
No,
I didn't pay for the
no.
pizza.
This is like a really large, like deep
I
dish
mean,
pizza kind of thing,
$30 is
which
a lot of
is
fucking money, bro.
Whatever, buddy. I like
You
Sicilian
could go to
pies. Okay?
You could go to Costco and get 3 pizzas for $10 each.
Get mine from a local, authentic Italian pizzeria.
Anyways, thank you, Toast, for telling us
What
about
else
your
did I do?
VTuber escapades.
I don't know. VTubers are who wants anime anymore? Let's turn this into a VTuber podcast.
Please.
We have to speak in broken English.
Oh my god. I'm sure there is a VTuber podcast somewhere out there, right? Oh my god.
There's
We might actually have
How? What do they
to.
do?
I don't know,
Fire,
dude.
when
So we have to be
You're
bi-weekly because we run out of content.
The,
What the
the
fuck
thing is,
does a VTuber
They probably
podcast?
just fucking simp, dude.
I'm almost afraid of the day when we have to start
well, yeah, I'm
running a.
still waiting for the VTuber podcast. Fire, it's on the table. You know, it's there.
Okay, look.
It's
I'll
inevitable.
I will admit that it is indeed on the table. As for where it goes from the table, let's
Okay,
leave that for another day.
my master plan is we have 3 of them. All right.
Why?
Three of them?
Wait,
One-
what?
We don't
One-
have
one
I
will-
said one,
one
idle.
of them.
Yeah, part 1 of 3 here. We
Part
can do
one of
one for
3.
Niji Sanji, one for Hololive, and one for Independence.
Oh
Tamaki
boy.
counts as an independent, even though she has her own company now.
I don't even
Can we-
know. I don't think I know more than 2 independent fucking VTubers anyway.
Can we-
Shigeru Iui, Tamaki.
Anyways, thank you, Toast, for helping cover the VTuber world as per
That's it.
usual.
That's all I got.
All right. Anyways,
Rudido maybe.
we have to move on. But again, we do have pretty much all of the series that we're going to cover. I think people are or have talked about a decent amount in the community already, so we'll be doing a lot of sort of back and forth today. Starting off, obviously, with Toast. What do you have for us today?
I wasn't told I'd be starting. Damn.
Yes,
all right.
you were.
Why was it? Where? Let me see. I don't see the order.
I think it was when he was listing the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the order.
Okay. Well, I
Right.
watched. Apparently, the English name is Super HxEros.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it. Get it, superheroes? Like that one show on was CNN? Was it no WB?
CNN.
What?
CNN running
I
the
think you mean-
series Heroes. I think you mean NBC. and
Yeah,
it
think
was
you-
that's
on
the one.
I think you mean MSNBC.
CNN.
I don't know. I never watched it.
Just keep going.
I never really watched sitcom dramas like that until Parks and Rec. Then I went
not
back.
not a sitcom, bro.
Well, I didn't watch it, so I didn't watch Friends or Seinfeld. I don't know.
Can you
What?
do you want to keep going with
Oh.
I think the way you mentioned well it's
Okay. So
HxEros is the Japanese pronunciation, right?
HxEros.
Yeah, HxEros. I think
It's like HxEros or something. I don't know.
no. The reason
It
is
just
because
HxEros?
no. Okay, it's cross essentially. It's like you know how it's
Yeah.
like, but the
Hunter
thing is,
Hunter. Yeah.
Japanese people do not pronounce the cross. So it's when like usually in a Western series people say Hunter x Hunter, right? But in Japan it's just Hunter Hunter, or in really any other Asian country. But anyways,
Why
keep
do
going.
they just
It's pronounced
say it
like
wrong?
It's
like
HxEros.
X. No, that's not how they pronounce it in the show.
Damn.
Really? How do they
It's
pronounce it?
it's well in the opening they say heroes, but I was like, no, they don't say it
Well,
in
I
the
mean,
show.
the
Well,
heroes.
that's the play on words.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the wordplay. Yeah.
It's like it's HxEros or something. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Whatever. What's this show about?
That's
So
an even worse question.
so
What is the show about, Toast?
you guys kept up with the Hololive news, right?
What? No.
No.
You remember Spire? How are you not there for Fubuki's 4-hour Baba RTA?
It's a mystery to me too. Yes.
Anyway, so Marine and Shion had a sleepover / collab thing, and they were doing things late in the night. That's why they were late. And apparently, Marine came out and said some stuff happened, but she got blue balled in the end.
Oh, that
It's
thing.
pretty good.
Can we?
I
All
feel
right.
bad for her. So
What's how is this related to the series exactly?
so yeah, you like blue balls? That's what this show's about.
Okay. Can we?
Wait, he powers
Are you?
up by getting blue ball?
I guess. So the plot of the show is there's these creatures called sensor bugs. Get it? Get it?
Oh, okay. Okay, keep going. Yeah.
And what these sensor bugs do is they steal H energy from humans,
So it's
so
like Twin
kill all
Tails, but with
humans.
it's like Twin Tails, but with
What was the point of Twin Tails again? What did they steal? Twin Tails?
they stole like they stole like it was like some sort of like attribute energy or something that's like they stole people's like attributes like having twin tails or like
So they
being
stole
like a
Twin
book
Tails,
girl
yeah.
or something like that. Yeah, it's just like so it's like that but like with more hentai stuff, right? Or Edo energy, right?
So yeah, so they feed off humans H energy, and they're like, we're gonna destroy the world, steal all your energy. So
Who's the main character voiced by again?
you know who he is.
Is it Shimonohiro?
Kirito. Yeah, it's
Okay,
Kirito.
no, no, Kirito is Yoshisuke Matsuoka
Yeah,
Yoshisuke.
that's him. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Okay,
it's
good.
Kirito.
That was
So
guess number 2.
so mankind's all like, all right, now we need to use our own H energy to combat these sensor bugs. And then they hire high school children. Apparently one
Oh
dude
boy.
and like all females. Because you
Wow.
know, high school students are the horniest, apparently. Right?
Wait, that doesn't explain the gender distribution though. Wait a minute. That doesn't that
Yeah, so
whatever you just said doesn't.
apparently like all the other groups so far are just girls, but he's the only dude.
Okay.
But he was coerced into joining because there's this childhood friend that he liked, this chick who was blue balling him. When they were elementary school students.
Essentially how Infinite Stratos also started up. But
So
keep
they're
going.
all like, "Yeah, you like that girl, right? Why don't you join our organization? Because I know you got that H energy building up." He's like, "All right," and
Okay.
that's the story of how he joined.
So is the I get it. I get that the series is episodic and kind of focused a little bit more on what the boy and the girl do, right? In the cockpit,
No,
or is it what? What's
no,
happening? It's not episodic.
no, maybe I don't know. So the plot of the
Wait a
show,
minute.
Are
Okay.
you the one that watched it?
yeah, I'm trying to get into this without dancing around the topic.
Do they
So
fuck?
no, that's
It's the most important
here. They're like 16. You can't do that.
What do they do?
thing.
They
You said-
use their H energy to fight apparently real. So
Real
you
what?
remember when you said Hunter x Hunter before, right? What was the Chimera insect arc? Yeah,
Okay.
they're fighting giant bug ladies that do stuff with H
Are,
energy.
you mean bug ladies as in like Monaco witches kind of shit, or like what are you talking about?
Okay, remember the mosquito girl in One Punch Man? Kind of
Oh,
like that.
okay. Oh, okay. I
But
get it.
what do
Okay.
they do?
They
What do you
they
mean? Oh, the you mean the squad, right? The hero
Yeah, what's
squad.
squad
the
or the
process?
aliens.
What's the process?
Yes.
So
That's the important
so
question.
Dark, you like Kamen Rider, right? What's your
I
favorite
do.
method of
I'm
transformation?
kind of upset that you're bringing it up with this.
What's
but
your
all right.
favorite method of transformation?
What do you
Your
mean?
favorite gadget?
What do you mean?
What's your favorite gadget of choice for a
But
henshin?
they're
It
all
certainly isn't
belts.
anything
They're
we were
always
thinking of.
belts. What do you
Oh,
mean?
baby, belt
No, they're not.
play.
One of them was a watch, right?
I thought you were about to say like a
Which
dildo or
one?
some
Which
shit.
one do you think was a watch? I think the closest thing to a watch was realistically Drive, but Drive was the wrist thing and the belt.
Oh
There's
my
a belt
god.
in there somewhere. I don't think there's a single Kamen Rider that transforms
So
without a
so
belt.
so they got this HxEros watch,
Like
right?
chastity belt? Or like
So when you hit the watch, it
I have a
it
watch.
converts your H energy into like your Super
okay.
Sentai form, and then they
Okay,
use
okay,
that
so
to
form.
fight bugs.
Okay.
It's like,
Well,
okay. But
okay. So
apparently, if you run out of H energy, you turn naked.
so
So
you have to recharge the H energy by doing like etchy stuff with the other girls. Is what you're getting at?
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm wondering what if they're doing that with other girls. What like are the
Or what?
why does it have to be an all girl squad?
Because they're trying to make a perfect society here, buddy.
But
because
yeah, so
that girl was just that guy was just very lucky. He's like a fucking lottery winner essentially. How that works out.
That
so the
guy,
so yeah.
me smile.
So they saw the dude and he's like, "Hey, you're a dude, right? Let's check out your H energy." And they're like, "Oh no, this is actually pretty good. He's got good H energy levels. Welcome
So
to the team."
that's like the worst. That's like the worst way to like summarize how they found like Anakin Skywalker with the midi chlorians. It's like,
Yeah, I've
hey, you're actually
crunched the
pretty powerful.
numbers. Turns out you're horny.
Turns out you're pretty powerful, dude. Come with us. Oh my god.
So yeah,
Anyways,
so
you know,
they gathered a bunch of girls with high horny powers and one
okay,
dude, and they use them to fight
yeah.
bugs.
So yeah, it seems pretty par for the course there. Do you have
And
any sort
then
of
you got what you got your flavors because you got the you got the tsundere childhood friend who
yes,
used to be
okay.
super horny when she was an elementary school student, but then she got attacked by a sensor bug, and she's like, "Wow, this is kind of gross." And then
Okay.
she turned tsundere. But in
Right.
the inside, she's like, "Oh no, I'm actually still pretty horny." So she's denying her horny powers, even though she has like the highest horny level, something like that. I'm just gonna call it horny power, and it's not H energy. I like that sound better.
Okay.
And then you got like the athletic girl, the pink ranger. She did it because her oldest sister's a supermodel, and she's got a complex about her small boobs. So I don't
Yeah.
know. And then
Yeah,
you
Power
got
Rangers
the
is usually it's Western stuff that has all like the wrist morphers and whatever stuff. But
then
yeah,
you got the blue ranger. She's was it Ora Emo? No, not no. What's the new Ora Emo again? With the little sister who draws porn.
Hiromanga Sensei.
Yeah, she's the Aramunga Sensei. She's a shut in Fujoshi girl
You
person.
say new, but didn't that thing came out 5 years ago, right? Or
Yeah,
something
but
like that.
it's the new Orimo. What is there a newer one? I don't think so.
I don't think that's
Yeah,
okay.
he's got a
Well,
point,
you're right.
bro.
And then you got the White Ranger who has pink hair. Who I thought was the Pink Ranger at first, but it's like no, she's white, and I'm like, what? Anyway,
That's they're just gonna
she,
make the
sh
White Ranger the main team. That's fuck the series.
but yeah,
Sooner or later,
she's
they're just gonna have black and white be the initial Rangers, and then the colors eventually start joining, like
Yeah,
one
like
by
what the
one.
fuck are you talking? Like,
yeah.
yeah, the White
So you got
Ranger. That's
the White Ranger. She's all oh, I don't know why I'm here, but in the end, she's pretty super horny, even though she's supposed to be the normal one. And yeah, that's about it. Then there's a censor bug who's like a wolf girl slash lolly. I don't know why she's there. I guess it's a mascot.
I don't know where this is going. Oh my god. Anyways, do you have any
So
sort of last like,
what about this show?
what about this show appeal to you? Is what you're doing? What you want to
You
say?
like To Love Roof and their fancy sensors with like hold on.
Please look. I'm not saying Teleru is like a great show or anything like that, but please don't compare it to
Well,
this.
tell me another show with the best sensors all around and horny touching.
I don't think. I
Do
mean,
you want me to go the Shin My Mao route? Because I don't want to go there. Because Shin My
there's a
Mao is
lot of
not
stuff.
even funny.
Echika Deki and I had it right book. Book.
But no one remembers that Spire. That's like 10 years ago.
I'm sorry for being old. By old, I mean only 10 years. But
You brought up a Hajime no Gal, right?
yeah.
I guess.
Well, Hajime no Gal didn't have so much censoring as it just had like it just like had like a top scene of like boom, we're getting into it, and then kind of cut off, right?
So
It
let me
was like
tell you about
it was
this
like less
series.
censored.
every 5 to 10 seconds there's a sensor, and they use a whole bunch of sensors. Sometimes it's sometimes it's a the blur. Sometimes it's a sparkly star. Sometimes it's half the screen is entirely white, and I'm like, I can't see what's happening. It's that kind of sensors, and because this show's pretty horny, and they get naked pretty easily.
Okay, Rockadai Kishi isn't. I mean, Toast didn't bring that series up
It's
because of the sex or whatever. It's because it's not a good series. But anyways,
Rakadai Kishi isn't horny on main.
yeah,
Uh,
it's not. Yeah, I can
so
agree with that.
what about this show? I I had a pretty low initial
I hope you had low initial expectations for this
expectation
shit.
of it, but after seeing the sensors, it's pretty funny.
Okay, so it has like a comedy edge to it, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like bam, you're naked. Bam, look at this sensor. Stars.
Okay.
Bam.
I think that's gonna be the name of our show. Thanks, Toast.
Bam,
Do you have any last words
bam,
for?
you're naked again. Oh, look, here's a screen blur. It's like bam, now he's naked. And it's like not apparently now there's a purple blur instead of a white blur, and I'm like, whoa, new color. I don't
Okay.
know. This show's pretty stupid. I
Any
don't.
last words?
I I guess I like it. I, it's,
I like how you're very confused. Like, should I value this?
the
Yeah,
sensors make it. Sensors actually add to the value of the show. It makes it more interesting to watch,
Hmm.
even though it's pretty lewd, I guess. But I don't know. Maybe it's because the thing that happened with Marine and Shion, and I'm like, wow, I just feel bad about this.
Wow, I'm horny.
Now I
So
have all the H power.
I'm like, am I supposed to feel horny over this show? No, I just feel sad.
Okay. Well, thank you, Toast, for
I don't know, man.
Sad
I guess
and horny.
that's a pretty standard combination,
A
right?
recipe for disaster.
That's like some
will
Crunchwrap Supreme of
will someone please answer Marine's call?
Oh my god.
I
Anyways,
it's
all right,
she's still ripe for the picking.
before Toast gets too deep into VTubers again, thank you, Toast,
I
for
don't know.
helping to
Like
cover
I
H.
want to say it's a good show. It's got good quality animation for some reason. It's not like
The
low
screenshot you
budget.
sent looked kind of fucked up.
Which one?
The one where they're like the one with the star sensors. They're like body like proportion. I don't even know proportions. They're like faces and necks look fucking weird to me.
Mhm.
I don't see any really weird animation errors wrong with it. I don't know. It's pretty high quality. This is the same studio that did Rokyobu
Rokubu? All right, okay.
Project Number 9. They do good work, I guess.
Well, they do work all right, but
I don't know.
yeah.
I still don't. I'll just say I like this show. I will
Okay.
rate it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. So that's we ended up on a nice note, at least. Near, please contain your excitement for this show. Anyways, thank you, Toast, for helping to cover Heroes, HxEros or HxEros, whatever you want to call it. It's an interesting series. So if you like this sort of stuff, check it out.
If you like To Love Ru and like getting blue ball, sure. Super Power Rangers, Super Sentai,
Yeah.
boy.
Anyways, after that one big bullet taken, we have yet another one. Nier, what did you want to cover for this show?
I watched The God of High School.
Yes.
I don't know if you've heard of it, but
I've heard enough of it. Episode enough.
yeah. God of High School is a web manga, Korean web manga
Yes.
original. Um, uh,
A
adapted
Crunchyroll
by
original, by the way.
Yeah, who cares?
Original, if it was made by Koreans, they're
Adapted
lying.
by Studio Mappa. It's basically just a Korean tournament arc shonen series.
Yeah,
And it looks nice.
it does.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Looks like it got money behind it.
Wasn't
Yeah.
some of the battle animation pretty funky, or was that
Some of it is, I mean, it's got some moments here and there where it's kind of like that doesn't look quite right, but I mean, Mappa's trying, right?
you
They're doing
might?
a job.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true. Especially, I do have to say that we should probably be a little bit more lenient because, like, obviously, of the global situation, they don't exactly have a ton to
yeah,
spare, right? But anyways, keep going.
but yeah. So, God of High School again. It's really generic. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably one of the most generic things I've watched in like a
Sosio says
really
the
fucking long
pacing is
time.
at least pretty good. Is
Yeah, the
that true?
pacing is solid. So I watched the first 5 episodes. I think it's up to 7 right now.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not gonna lie. So in episode 5, um, they are kind of like done with the like first tournament arc. They're like,
Okay.
yeah, like the protagonist wins the first tournament arc. Fucking
Okay.
surprise, surprise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and all the while, they're doing like this weird fucking like, oh, there's like this secret cult that's after the sword of God or some shit, and it's like,
Sword of God
not,
of High School.
yeah, it's really not relevant.
Sword of
Um,
the high
you
school.
know,
What?
it's implying that the God of High School tournament is like obviously has some sort of ill intentions to it.
Mhm.
Yada yada yada, standard shonen shit, right?
Right.
Tell us about
Um,
tell us about the world, Nier. Why
There's
does there have to be a god of the high
there's
school?
nothing to the world is the thing, right? Like it's just like
If there's a
it's
god of
just
the
like
high school,
here's the tournament. Our main character has entered the tournament and now he's fighting. He made some friends and they're fighting too. And the people he's fighting, uh, maybe they're not good people? Question mark. Who cares? He's fighting, right?
right, exactly. Yeah.
Um, like the series really
The,
doesn't
ra-
dick
the
around.
railroad has put this character here. Is
Yeah,
what?
like they're just like, wow, this main character sure is strong. They don't do any fucking like training arc shit. They don't do um other bullshit. There's been like one filler episode I think where like
Okay.
one character got like tricked into almost marrying one of the bad guys.
Yeah.
And then the bad guy just kind of leaves. Um, you
So, so,
know,
so I do
Yeah,
want to
so
ask,
so
like,
let me
yeah,
ask something real quick,
yeah,
Spire.
yeah, yeah, go
If
on, go on.
there's Why does this guy look like that guy from Digimon?
Ty?
Yeah. What's up with
because he's
that?
a shonen protagonist.
Anyway,
Okay.
also, if there's a god of high school, is there a god of middle school? An elementary school?
It's a good question.
I'm not too sure, but yeah.
Yeah, keep going.
I don't know. I mean, the series is really bare bones, right? Like it's
Yeah, so I was about to ask, like, it's okay that there's no like training arc or whatever, although obviously sometimes stuff like that sort of ends up happening alongside the way when things become a little bit more organic, right? It shouldn't be. If you can, you should probably prevent it. But if it
yeah.
happens in an organic setting, it happens, right? But tournament arcs, whatever, training arcs, etc., 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 don't necessarily have to happen. But without them happening, and what's going on in the series, right? Like, where are we going with this? Is sort of what I want to ask.
Um. Well, like Sessian said, it's literally tournament arc this series. So I'm assuming I'm not fucking insane, so I haven't read the webcomic. Um,
Right.
but
I
like
still haven't read it.
I would assume the series like its main, I guess, push is like the weird secret council guys that are like running the tournament. I don't really know what they're gonna do with them. Like
Mhm.
they again, this series is super bare bones. So like so far, what's happened is the main character enters the tournament. We get some minor backstory about how like the main character like lost his grandpa. Like his grandpa trained him, and now his grandpa's gone, and he lives on his own. And then he enters this tournament, and then on the way to the tournament, he tries to like stop this thief that stole an old lady's purse. And in doing so, he encounters the main trio of like heroes. Your main cast. There's the
Right.
main character. What's his name? Jin Mori. There's the female lead, Yumira, and then there's like the deuteragonist Han Day.
Right.
And that's like your main trio. And then they enter the tournament, and then they fight a bunch of people, and then they win the tournament. That's literally all that's happened, right? Um,
But I mean,
they've introduced some powers, um, and that's about it. Like there's no like overarching plot right now. Like right now, it's like the tournament happened, and there's some shady people behind the scenes.
so
Like
the reason,
right now, it's just like fight, like
so
just action.
I just want to say, like, sort of going a little bit more meta, but the reason why you want to watch this series, right, is it pretty much 80% of it's like, oh wow, he's fighting stuff. That's really cool. Is that sort of how it is?
It
I don't
seems to
I don't
be.
mean to
I
be
mean,
like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm not trying to be like a reductionist here.
Right, exactly.
But like this series, it's literally like 80% fighting. Like, the main character, his like entire motivation is like I want to fight people to get stronger. The other main characters have like a bit more realistic motivations for why they entered the tournament, but
Yes.
majority of it is just like I'm gonna fucking fight. I'm gonna fight, and I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
get
fight
strong.
you, and I'm gonna
Um,
fight you.
and then the antagonists are like, I'm gonna do evil shit because I'm fucking evil, and my hair has literal devil horns in it because I'm evil. Um, this series is really really simple. Like you really don't have to like pay attention. You kind of just you look at the flashing colors in front of your eyes and you go, wow, that was cool. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
like this series, it's not really trying to do much uh original, which I mean I can't really fault for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like we've said, a lot of Korean webtoons aren't exactly like peak literature.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so if you've got a shtick, just go for it, right? Like
Exactly.
if you wanna draw action, draw action. Um, you know. Uh, that said, the action is fairly well animated. Again, there's some
Okay.
scenes that are like have a really weird like motion. Like sometimes the camera will pan around, or like characters will jump into the air and do like a U-turn. Weird stuff like that.
Okay, okay, yeah.
But the animation for the most part is solid. Studio Mappa. Um, when they try, they look pretty good. When they don't, they look really bad. Um, but yeah, in episode, I think it was 5. The main character and like uh the Deuteragonist Hyundai, they like they fight in like the preliminary finals and stuff.
Right.
And it's like the epic fucking Naruto versus Sasuke shit, right? But there's this cool bit where like they fucking punch each other and the screen goes white, and then they're animated with like ink painting, which is really cool. Looks
Uh,
quite nice.
yeah.
And then after
Some of
that,
those
it
Oriental
transitions
shit.
to you remember how like the Street Fighter 4 cinematics were animated? How like
Yeah, 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 yeah,
they
yeah.
had like the
Yeah.
lines
The
etched
thick
over
lines,
them,
yeah, exactly.
and then
Yeah,
like they had the when they moved there was like the trail of the ink splotch.
right,
Then
right,
they
exactly.
fight like that, and it's really stylish. It's quite nice. Um, Probably the most impressive thing that I saw so far. But yeah, I mean it looks nice. Again, this is not it's not a highbrow series. Um, it's very like it's very I guess like sort of like entrenched in like just the shonen um like just trope, right? Where it's just like main character fights, fights are cool. I'll draw more fights, right?
Right, right.
Um,
Whoa, fighting.
yeah,
Nice.
I mean, there's the occasional stuff where it's the standard stuff like, oh, the most important thing is your Tomodachi, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
but for the most part, it's like, yeah, I'm fighting because I want to get strong. and then the other character's like, I'm fighting because I want to help people, or I'm fighting because my family, yada yada, right?
Right, exactly.
But really, all you care about is the fights, and the fights look cool. So I mean, watch it, I guess. If you're into action series, you really can't go wrong.
Mhm.
Unless you know, unless you're desperately looking for something like with action and substance, which sorry to say, it's pretty rare. Like this has solid action. Um,
Mhm.
the characters are pretty likable.
Right.
The main character isn't like he's not like fucking the average like actual brain damaged shonen main character.
Right.
Like he's simple minded, but like kind of he just does, right? Like he just moves. He doesn't mope around or do anything like that, like the average shonen character
Yeah,
does, which is quite nice.
the thing is, one good thing that Korean mangas do tend to have that Japanese mangas, for the most part, don't, is pretty much just getting to the point, right?
Yeah,
Now, what kind of points they have is another matter, and obviously, they can be pretty terrible points or no points at all. But they do just go like, okay, well, I love you, or I'm gonna punch you in the face, or whatever it is, and then chapter two is chapter two, right? So,
um, yeah, very straightforward series. You know, looks good, sounds
mm,
good. The soundtrack's pretty okay. It's not really um up my alley all the time. Some of it has like weird like auto-tuned rap in it, which I'm kind of
right,
like,
right,
I'd
exactly.
rather not listen to this right now. But it's polished. There's a lot of uh high-profile voice actors.
Right, yeah, I
Anthony
saw that list.
Namikawa, Tatsumaru, Tachibana. A lot of people. Um, and there's Yumira is very cute, and I like her a lot. So check it out. It's pretty good.
Near.
So it's not the same. What's it called? Like composer or whatever. I assume as like the Guro stuff. Something.
Um, I'm not sure. I mean, it's Mappa, so I mean, looking at it, it looks like it's just like the Mappa guy. Let me check.
So Near, is this the
Uh,
Just
greatest
for
Sakuga that
general
was
like
ever made?
soundtrack.
The greatest Sakuga? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, Near, is this the greatest Sakuga?
You heard him
no,
here.
no. Uh, like
So so
it looks nice, like, but I'm not gonna be out here being like, yeah, this is fucking Kino, you know?
so it's not as good as Princess Connect Redive, huh? All right, I hear it.
I don't know.
Because
Princess
that's
Connect is pretty shiny.
it's got Sakuga and story.
I mean, the series has Sakuga, yeah. Sakuga, whatever, dude. It looks nice, yeah. But like, I'm not gonna be out here being like, yeah, this is fucking like, yeah, this looks better than fucking End of Evangelion or some shit.
Is it
Eh,
better than Cowboy Bebop, the movie fight scene?
no,
Well, then it's not as good as it's not as good, huh?
I guess
But
it's also
Crunchyroll puts
not
so
as
much money into it, dude. What the
Look,
fuck?
yeah,
what we're really
yeah.
trying to
Speaking
say
of,
is thanks,
literally,
Crunchyroll.
the only influence I see for like Crunchyroll, I don't know how much money they put into this,
Mhm.
but like they really wanted to put their fucking brand into this series. Like their fucking logo is smattered like all throughout
Wait,
because
really?
yeah, majority of the fights, like the fights in this series are done in like an arena, like a boxing ring arena, and Crunchyroll's logo is fucking everywhere.
Sponsored by
That's so
Crunchyroll.
cheesy. Oh my,
Yeah, it's
terrible.
really annoying, and it doesn't look good.
That's like if fucking like Clannad, or like not even Clannad, like Violet
So
Evergarden.
that's the
Like with
money they
like
paid. They
Yeah, had like the
literally like
Netflix
meme
logo.
paid.
that's
Yeah,
so bad. Oh my,
fucking Violet pulls out her typewriter, and the fucking Netflix
right?
logo is
Yeah,
on the
exactly.
back of it. Yeah,
Oh
it's.
my god,
I
that's
I
mean,
mean, like this
to be
is a little
fair,
bit more fitting because it's in like an arena for a sponsor, but it's just
yeah, to
like
be fair, the Webtoon logo is also smattered all over the place. But like, I don't know, something about the Crunchyroll logo being like fucking smattered all over a ring is really it's gross.
I mean,
don't like it.
first of all, the Crunchyroll logo is dog shit, but also, just like that to me just says like, yeah, that's the money they paid. Like that's kind of where it began and ended.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they
yeah.
they
I mean,
paid to have the
Our
logo in
logo
the
here.
arena and to just
get
be
you.
able to say, oh yeah, Crunchyroll original.
Yeah, pretty much. You know,
This
I
time we
can't
paid
imagine.
twice as much as our license fee, which is nothing anyway.
Yeah, I can't imagine they were out here like funding the series like Netflix
Right,
does.
exactly.
But you know, uh, just a
So,
small like annoyance I had.
so Near, since this is the pioneer of Korean anime, how do you feel about it overall and of the feature?
Would you call it Korean anime if it's done by
I
Mappa?
mean,
Korean web novel turned anime.
I don't know.
Is it a good starting line?
I mean, it's a solid starting. I don't know if I'd say it's good because again, this is super bare bones, right? So, um, it's certainly not bad. Like, it's not exactly exuding like Korean.
Also, wait, why are you saying starting line? Wasn't that Tower of God already?
Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot about
yes.
Tower of God.
Yeah, most
No
people
one
did.
remembers Tower of God. Yeah.
But
That
yeah,
was the only hope for Korean manga to ever be animated.
yeah. In terms of like, honestly, comparing this to Tower of God, this is like a fucking masterpiece. But yeah, I don't know. It's not like this series is exuding like fucking Korean influence, right? Like the Korean names are there, and it takes place in Seoul. But
Honestly, it just seems like even more like a Chinese, one of those Chinese like Supreme Emperor, school battle
Oh,
kind of
you're not ready
manhwas.
for those. You're
yeah,
not ready
I
for the
mean,
peerless battle spirit.
there's no world building or anything, right? Like it's just
Mhm.
like yeah, this we're in Korea right now, and people have Korean names, and
Right, exactly.
some of the street signs are in Korean. You know,
Right.
it's like it's not like you know uh, drawing influences from like Korean mythology or anything,
Yeah.
right? Like
And if anything, it seems a little bit more on the Chinese battle manhwa side than
yeah,
anything else.
because like whenever the powers come out, it's like fucking giant samurai monsters that are coming out of people. You know?
Whoa,
Yeah,
you mean like Shaman King?
Korean.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's not a bad series. I'd recommend it.
Yeah. Okay. So, in a surprising turn of events, Nier has not completely trashed God of High School, but
Man,
My
thank
closing
you
question
for
is: do they make Korean street food with, uh, you know, an entire bottle of ketchup on it and some sugar?
yes. That is
no. The only
Damn.
thing that the main character seems to eat is bananas.
God damn it. There's a racist joke in there somewhere, but anyways.
Yeah, somewhere.
Spire, you're Korean. You can make it.
Anyways, thank you, Nier, for helping to cover God of High School. I know it's been a pretty popular series recently, so it is good that we
Oh,
covered it.
you know what this reminds me of? Air Gear. That's the word. That's the one I was looking for.
Oh, okay.
That cover looks like Air Gear. I
Yeah,
never watched Air Gear.
yeah, for sure. It also kind of, well, never mind. But anyways, moving on. I guess I'm going to cover my series, and it's not. I think I had about.
Spire, thanks for taking the bullet that I didn't want to take.
I think I had about as much expectations for this series as Nier and Toast had for their series, respectively. Tell me if I'm wrong. Uh,
I didn't want to cover this series, so I forced you to do it.
and it is called Kanojo Okarishimasu, also known as Rent a Girlfriend. So this is, I mean, it's the usual like harem slash the initial girl plays hard to get kind of, but is like really nice, kind of takes care of him mentally, takes care of the main hero mentally, or main character mentally, is what I meant. But yeah, first the main heroine is playing hard to get. The rest is the harem, and they're all brought together by the premise known as rental girlfriends. Which, again, if you guys didn't know by now, is
Simping.
actually a thing in Japan. It is a real thing in Japan. Rental girlfriends or rental family members, rental friends, whatever it is, right? Rental people, and by that they mean essentially expensive
Basically, an escort.
prostitutes don't you don't get to have sex with, right? Um,
Or if you're a late night talk show host, a pretty good bit.
yeah, yes. Also known as the Conan O'Brien series in Japan. Yes, excellent. Thank you for the reference. But it is. Yeah, I mean, I think I just described what it was in the first like 30 seconds, right? I mean, like, so the problem. I mean, can I haven't read the reviews yet, but what are people saying? I mean, I know the general reviews of this are like mildly complimentary or something like that, right? Am I getting this right? It's like the reception is mildly positive for some reason, and I just don't understand why. Like, I don't understand.
It looks good, I
I
guess.
guess the pictures are good. I mean, for sure,
It's
the
got
art,
really good anime. It looks like the
the
manga. It's
animation
great.
is fun. Yeah, the animation is fun.
7.52 on Mall.
I don't
Um,
know. Most of the actual impressions I've seen of this show,
mm,
whether it be Mal or A, are pretty negative.
oh really? Okay, so that's there's some justice in this world. That's nice.
Yeah.
But again, it's like the issue I always ask these days, and I know people are going to maybe call me a hypocrite or call me, a boomer or whatever it is, right? Is I just it's my argument isn't like, oh, why are they so just about moe blobs now? I mean, whatever, like being cute or like drawing cute girls isn't a crime, or like having an anime with cute girls isn't a crime. But what I'm saying is, like, where are we going with this, right? Like, okay, this is the series. It's a harem series. The first girl's gonna win, right? It's pretty obvious. The first girl is playing hard to get. That's also pretty obvious. And the other girls are kind of set up as pretty obvious distractions along the way. Blah blah. Like, okay, like what value am I getting here, right? Like the people, because people always like to point out like, you know, oh, this series, this rom-com is nice because blah blah. Like people said the same shit with Oregairu. People said the same shit with whatever else, right? Like it's just or like whenever there's like a tough guy, right? Like um, just again, like what am I getting out with this? Like the only sort of unique case that can be maybe made is the fact that like um I guess the MC, like they show some parts of the MC that's like really wussy, and like they kind of continue making him a very sort of weak character. So people can kind of be like, oh yeah, I can empathize with that. I was too cowardly to say anything, but some shit like that. Is that how we go here? Is
I
that the
can
route we want
empathize
to
with
take
that. I'm a bitch.
here?
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, exactly. It's like I guess that's one of the ways you can kind of roll it, right? Like that they're unique in the way in the this is unique in the sense that the MC uh remains a bitch for long on a more extended period of time, and you
So
can kind of see
realistic.
the ripple effects, right? Beyond that, again, the setup is very like there's nothing to be impressed by, and it's so depressing because it's like what if I don't know. It's how do I say this? It's not like before that, in the days of like Green Green or like Love Hina or whenever, right? It's not like the plots were so much more like developed, right? It's just that the premises have changed, right? The way the characters are railroaded into these situations have changed. And I would just like to say again, we've talked about this ad nauseum with me, with Nier, with Dark, with Toast. We've had roundtable discussions, whatever it is. But I just really like to see um some other aspect of the harem or some other sort of development of the harem that isn't just first girl wins or childhood friend doesn't win or whatever it is, right? Just give me, right? It can be the same structure, it can be the same premise. Just develop it into something else for the love of God. And it's just very depressing. But yeah, that's all I had to say about Kanojo Okarishimasu. There's not much to it really.
See,
Uh,
see,
yep.
Spire, the problem with this series is compared to other rom-com love comedy stuff, this is a very, very, very slow burn. We're
I
already at
mean,
a
the
hundred.
slow burn itself doesn't really. I mean, I agree with you that having too slow a burn is a detriment, but I think ultimately it would be okay if there was a unique development behind it. You know what I mean? Like, let's say if it was more of like an after story kind of thing, like the light novel like Riso no Himo Seikatsu, right? Um, then it would be a little bit more like Forgiven, right? That thing has a very slow burn. It's doing weird straight statecraft politics, whatever stuff, right? Intrigue, political intrigue, whatever stuff, and it's running the harem, but it's running much more of like this weird after story gimmick, and that's really nice. But this thing is a slow burn, and it's just not going anywhere. Yeah, what Andrew said. If there's good comedy, the rest of it can be forgiven if they do focus on comedy a little bit more. But
Is there
again,
any
the
comedy in
worry
this
is
series? I don't think so.
there is the usual sort of like cringe kind of focused comedy. There's like a light cringe comedy where it's like, oh, you actually said that embarrassing thing, ha ha ha. Like, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. But
It's most of this series is about the main. What's his name again? Kazuya? I don't even remember. The main dude.
I don't even know,
Was it?
dude.
What's his name? Is it? Yeah, it's Kazuya. He's like, wow. Most of this series can be boiled down to, wow, Chizuru is so cute. Wow, I wish she was my real girlfriend.
Yeah,
Oh
I wish
no,
the I wish the MC I wish the MC wasn't such a wimp and would stick up to the main hero, would stick up for the main heroine. Haha, and that's pretty much like
it's like
Yeah, I
I
heard
just
I heard the MC in this is like really bad. Like he's like constantly a downer.
yeah,
well that's part
that's
of
the
sort of
point.
that's sort of supposed to be this you know what I mean? And before when I was like, oh, it kind of he's a bitch for like longer periods of time, and then people can kind of be like, oh, he seems a little bit more realistic in that, like, oh, it shows what happens when you know you're kind of like depressed or you're just a loser or whatever it is, what you really do or something like that. So that's probably like how people might try to spin it or some shit like that, right?
I
But
don't
it's
know.
like,
From what I've seen, people saying he's like a genuinely bad person, and like emotionally fucking manipulative to like all the girls. Like he's just constantly a fucking
I
downer.
mean,
He's like guilt
that's
tripping
a
girls into hanging out with him.
I do want to say that that's like a
Well, he is
very
paying
standard harem
them, so
treatment. Yeah, that's a very standard like harem treatment. So, but I don't think
but
that
it's like
personally
I
one
there's
mean,
not that much.
being a downer isn't really like it's not abnormal in a harem series, right? But like
No,
being
no, I
being
don't mean being the downer part is a little bit more uncommon, I think. But
yeah, but you know what I mean. Like
the manipulative part, I think, just being like, oh, I can't be with you. Oh, I can be with you, but this girl treated me. Oh well, but no, that part is pretty par for the course, and I think that's sort of what they mean when people are saying being emotionally manipulative. And I think, uh, sorry to kind of take this over, but I think from what you're reading, I'm not saying that you're wrong or anything. I think these people, the reviewers, are honestly being a little bit disingenuous to themselves because the reason why they're taking such a strong tack is because they sort of smell blood in the water. Do you know what I mean? It's like they're like, oh, this guy's the beta male compared to all the alpha male harem series I watched. Oh my god, this is the worst character ever. He's being
yeah,
emotion manipulative. He sucks. He should just go jump off a cliff, whatever. And to me, I don't think there's too much of him deviating in terms of how he manages the harem. You know what I mean when I say that, right? Manage the harem. Um, in terms of like how he sort of juggles the girls, right?
yeah.
I
I
don't think
mean,
there's too
juggling the
much.
girls isn't really my question of how it deviates. My question more is like, how does he keep the girls around? Does he literally just like pay them?
No, it's like
Okay, well,
no, it's like outside forces kind of railroad them by chance, and then also they kind of start. It's like the usual like harem momentum. Oh, that girl is really going out with that guy. I can't believe what is she seeing? Oh, he just saved my cat from a tree. Kind of, you know what I mean? That sort of timing into momentum building into whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
You've seen it before, right? It's like
Yeah.
how does he what does he see? What does she see? Oh man, thank you for picking up my bag. Yeah, he also he also has the payment thing. But it's again, it's not really I'm not really convinced that that's like so much more different or supremely unique from what usually is the standard harem juggle: save the kitten from the tree, say pick up the bag, save their lives, all that bullshit. You know what I mean? I'm not particularly convinced. So that's sort of my opinion on it. I'm not saying the series is great or wow, it's like it deserves less hate or whatever. It deserves all this bullshit. But I think I think a lot of the people who are saying this is emotionally manipulative, right, are the same people who turn around and they see Kirito saving Asuna from the rapist and they're like, Kirito, coolest fucking character ever. Oh my
I don't
god.
know. I
Like,
mean, they might be
Yeah.
the same people that go like that. Oh boy, like cool, I guess. Like for me, with shit like that, I'm just kind of at the point of just like, okay, like it's so transparent what's happening here that
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
It's like the big
fuck off.
picture. What the author is doing is very like you know what I mean? Like because we, especially because in this podcast we're always seeing it. I don't know whether we want to say with filters or without filters, but in general we're always approaching things. We're so used to approaching things from a big picture perspective, right? From a very top down, like, oh yeah, the author's trying to do something because they are, right? It's like how business always tries to make money. The author always tries to do something, right? It's not the character being like, wow, I'm I'm so fucking cool. That's not how that works, right? So we're always used to this thing, but I think the way that a lot of people who are knee deep in rom-com and harem and so on and so forth are not as used to kind of viewing it from that perspective, I want to say. So it becomes a very like, how come this character is so alpha and doing all the cool things and this guy's so stupid and doing all the bad things, right? You know what I mean? It's when structurally from a very top-down perspective, it's kind of it's that is that kind of thing. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do any of the girls actually want to be around the MC, or is it actually just like they
yes,
feel fucking bad?
Yes.
everyone
That's what I'm saying.
except
It's like
Chizuru. That's
structurally
the whole
not.
point.
I'm saying it's like structurally, as I said, it's like the first girl is playing hard to get. The other girls are, they get kind of sucked in via circumstances, outside forces, their personal, their momentum, whatever it is, right?
Right.
Oh, right, blah blah blah. The MC does have good points in it, the whole usual thing, and then they serve merely at the end of the day as obstacles for the main girl to, jump through and then become his true love, all that shit, right?
Yeah.
Um, but again, I don't think it's really structurally that different from yeah, that one girl's excited he's like, yeah, that does happen. But yeah, structurally I don't see it much different, and I think again, I'm not saying the series is good or like, wow, you should watch this. Overall, I think you should not watch this. I think it's relatively depressing. Sort of how kind of like how many times you kind of have to ask yourself, like, okay, well, is this leading me to anything unique? No, all right. But I do think that the people who are uh being angry over, I want to say, a beta male character in the MC, like I do want to say that again, because at the end of the day, the story is structurally similar. I'm not convinced that having the beta male character is so much worse than having the alpha male character who's like, get out of my way, ho. You know what I mean? Like I'm not. Like
Well,
at
I
the end of
mean,
the day, the
you
personality
technically
aside,
don't. You don't have to have either or, but also at the same time,
yeah,
I feel like just from hearing this series, I think the big problem at that point is just that you have not only that character, but then you
hmm
have this setup being the rental girlfriend, and then you also have
right.
like the reluctant heroine too. So
So
you're
it's like
just kind of
everything's getting
like,
skewed. Yeah.
who am I supposed to like? For me, I'm never gonna even fucking check this out now because it's like I don't want to watch a like depressed beta male and then like almost like a tsundere main heroine or something.
I think so. Maybe I think if it was like a depressed beta male and then he's like sort of recovering in like a sort of a faster pace, maybe a slightly like slightly more raw emotional tinge that sort of leads into a brighter paced tone of story, right? Maybe that would be a cool sort of contrast to have, right? You sort of get what I'm talking about when I say that, right? But
Yeah.
I think right now I do agree that with this rental girlfriend, it's like it has a standard sort of harem thing. It kind of turns into slog, and then you're like, okay, well, let's finish up this harem story. But then there's also this depressed guy in the middle, and you're like, oh my god. So it doesn't work out well for sure.
I mean, especially when like Toast is like, "Oh, it's a slow burn." It's like, well, when you have two characters like that, I can see why, because it doesn't make much sense that it wouldn't be. It
Right,
just
exactly.
seems like okay, like I guess.
I
Where are we
guess.
going? Like, are we gonna get there at some point? Because
Mom,
In
are we
the
there
anime,
yet?
in your dreams, no. Like I said, I don't know, I think like 150 chapters in
I just mean like a
Rent a
series like
Girlfriend.
that in
The
general.
light
It's like
novel, yeah, the light novel,
just
Light
or
novel, you mean
the
manga?
sorry, the manga, excuse me. Yes, the manga
Like
already has like 14 plus volumes, right, or some shit.
the only major, the only major character development I saw, like, and I've been reading up with it, is Kazuya was all like, I'm gonna do this one thing for Chizuru because I want to make her dream come true, and I'm like, wow, it took you that long to do it, because
Just
they're gonna be dancing around this one thing with their grandmas and whatnot, and nothing really happens out of a long time with that. When I say it's
well,
a slow burn, let's say so. Most rom-coms end at 150 chapters or so, right? They're pretty short, 150, 200. That's fine. But
yeah.
there's a lot of character development and interesting things that happen in between this. In this series, not at all. I can only point out like maybe one or two major plot points. One with Chizuru and like her dream, and one with the one voiced by Naoto Yama and how she wants to get it with Kazuya. And I'm like, that's it. Two. I can only count two. Most rom-coms have more than that. Most rom-coms end within 150 chapters.
Mhm.
This this is gonna go on for 200, maybe 250.
Right.
When I say slow, it's really slow. Slow with barely anything good happening in it. That's why series sucks. Don't watch it.
Right.
You're not gonna get anything from watching this anime. Like not at all.
Okay.
Maybe you'll want to read the manga. I don't think you want to read the manga.
Anyways, thank you. Oh wait, I thought I was passing it off to Toast because I usually have Toast watch this kind of stuff. But
Yeah, I didn't want to watch it because I don't like this show.
yeah,
I don't like the manga. I don't like this. Ugh.
my final words on this is just I don't. It's like I almost feel like a parent with regards to this series. It's like I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed,
At
right?
least the art is good.
At least the artist. But yeah, if you want to watch a disappointing series, please check this out. Last but not least,
Spire. Here's the real question:
yes,
is this better than Nisekoi?
That's a tough
Honestly,
one.
I think Nisekoi is better. At least there's a lot and
ask me in like a year and a half for
there's
that.
a
It's
well,
like
there's a lot that happens in Nisekoi, and
that
it's
sort of question is like who do you like
this
more,
one.
your mother or your father kind of question. It's very hard.
No, it's
Uh,
not. You have there is always a favorite parent. You just don't want to say it.
I think
Don't watch the series. Just read the manga
I
if you
think
really want to.
I think Kanojo Okarishimasu for right now probably has a better sort of like sense for interactions, like multi-character interactions. But yeah, I think it has a slightly better sense for overall character interactions, and Nisekoi definitely committed much more heinous crimes in terms of like
At least Nisekoi is funny and interesting at some points. This, I don't see any funny or interesting.
yeah, well, I mean,
I want
no comment,
slapstick. I get slapstick from
no
Nisekoi.
comment on Nisekoi's overall humor face value. But I digress. I do want to move on though, but yeah. Anyways, that was Kanojo Karishimasu or Rent a Girlfriend, and last but not least, we come to Dark. What do you have for us?
Wow, I have a show that was on our radars, but we didn't really
Yes,
uh
Saving the best for last.
yeah.
absolutely.
The last dance, as one might call it. Ah,
Yeah, so basically I'll set it up. I covered Deca-Dence.
Yes.
nice.
And so what it's about humans have mostly like are just mostly extinct from these things, these alien creatures called gadolls. And they have to kill them and drain their blood, and they use it for energy, and they live inside a big moving fortress, essentially. All right?
Right.
And we'll leave it at that for now. Now, here's your spoiler moment. If you haven't seen this, go away and go watch it first, and then come back. But everything after this is going to be a huge spoiler. So there was your warning.
Okay.
All right, anyway, so that's not really what the series is about at all. So what the series is about is it's about humans are mostly wiped out, and mega corporation androids are the only things really left, except for humans. And so androids are making a video game. And so the video game is Decadence, and they control avatar, weird, like humanoid human things with like different weird colored skin and stuff. So they're all green or purple, and they think that that is like humans see them as like the warrior race. Essentially, they're called gears, and the gears are what fight the gadolls. And then humans are tankers, and they make all the equipment and stuff, and fix up like Decadence. And that's kind of like the basic gist of it. So the show is kind of like split into two halves essentially, with the main girl Natsume and the boss whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, Kaburagi. So Kaburagi looks human, looks like a tanker, was an armor for a while, but he's actually a little android guy who looks like a little blue fire. And he's supposed to like hunt down bugs essentially, which are just like humans and non-humans, like humans and androids that are like essentially going against what they're trying to set up with the game. And he's supposed to like extract any information and like kill them.
Right.
And hold on, wait. Actually, I think I'm dropping
By the
frames.
way, I do want to say this is done by Nut Studio, right? Which
Yes.
also did Saga of Tanya the Evil or Yojo Senki.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that kind of like puts us to what we are now. I don't really want to get too much further into the story. Like it's just more of a story of him essentially like not really breaking his conditioning as an android, but like sort of like reevaluating what he's doing with himself and like kind of like what it means to be alive. And also like pretty basic premise of like, we need bugs. We need like a perfect system is boring. Like not even like the androids truly want that.
Right.
But the combat is really cool. The fights are really good. The audio visuals are just really, really good all around, I'd say. Especially the soundtrack is quite nice. But the split between the two different like styles for like humans and then like when the androids interact and the androids are like super cartoony is very, very cool. I like it a lot.
I don't.
This guy, wow, this
I'm not
guy.
a fan. I really genuinely don't like the aesthetic of the cyborg world.
Damn.
I think I can't
I can see why, because it's
I can't blame
really
I can't blame them for doing that, but I I'm not like when I see like 80% of an episode where they're just kind of walking around like, oh man, I'm the android, or sorry, the cyborg. I punch another cyborg and we're all like freaking two minions duking it out, right? I'm not particularly impressed, so to say.
I mean,
So
it's just like it's so to me, it's so like tonally like fucking. It's like two separate worlds.
I
Like
mean
I'm
that's the
watching.
point, right?
that's the
That's
point,
I mean, I
man.
guess that's the point, but there's a genuine disconnect when I'm watching. Like I'm watching fucking literal minions talking about
yeah,
like
exactly,
fucking
minions.
death and mortality. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
Right, there's a little bit of dissonance, is what you're saying. But
Yeah.
anyways, keep going, Dark.
Yeah. I don't know. I quite like it. There's an android fight later on that's pretty cool. Overall, the human like fights and stuff have been really, really cool. There's not much. There's like CG, obviously for like the fortress and shit, but I don't
The
particularly
monsters are
remember if
too.
like the monsters are. They're blended pretty well
Yeah.
though for the most
I
part.
mean, the big ones are. The big ones are CG.
Yeah.
Some of the smaller ones are 2D, but the big ones are CG.
Yeah, there's a really big one that's CG that's blended really well later on. That's very fucking cool and has a lot of cool effects. Overall, there's a lot of like cool style things that happen, especially later on in the series during fights that I quite like. Trying to think of what else. I mean, story-wise and world-wise, it's pretty fun. I like the twist that they introduce after, like the entire like actual world after episode 1. I thought that was fun. Um, I think I like pacing wise, I like it a lot better than like if they were to fucking save it, for way later in the series or something and then reveal it.
I mean, that would have. I feel like that would have completely ruined like the flow of like this story because it seems like the entire crux of the story is that Natsume isn't in the system, right? Like
Yeah.
I feel like saving that for like halfway through the series is just like, well, you basically just fucking jacked off for fucking 6 episodes. Like
Yeah. Well, I just mean
I
from
mean, kind of mean. I
conceptually
mean,
from like a
the
world
readers, the
or just
viewers did
overall
know.
idea, you know?
The viewers did know that like Natsume had. I mean, she was obviously special to some degree, like with all
Yeah,
the sort of
technically, yeah, like
yeah, but I mean,
technically they could have
delaying.
been like, not only are you're a tanker that became a gear, but also turns out
You're
Yeah,
really
but it's like
special.
I
you're
don't know,
even
delaying
more
delaying like
special.
the reveal of like the specialness of the MC. I think really only creates problem because
Yeah.
like honestly, if you're gonna make it like something like that, like the crux of your like the push of your story, you want to get it out of the way as soon as possible, right? Because
Right.
otherwise, it's just like it becomes an ass pull, right? It's like, well, you know, why was Natsume able to do so and so? Oh, it's because this, Oh, but we're in episode 8, so why was that revealed just now? You know,
Well,
yeah,
again, I think
revealing it
in
in
this case
episode
there was a
2
decent
is
amount of
much
buildup.
smarter.
There was an okay amount of buildup, like with the whole the initial part where it's like, oh, why didn't I get recruited to blah blah, all that stuff, right? Um, but I think what I personally don't like about it is that it just wasn't impressive. It was like, okay, well, she's also a bug, and then we're gonna have to answer this whole ethics question of like, does protective society really need to get rid of people like her? All that stuff, which I wasn't particularly impressed by. But I think there was an okay amount of like foreshadowing for that to not be a complete asshole. It wasn't like, I don't know. It wasn't like some Harry Potter, like you're a wizard, Harry kind of shit, right? With a giant dropping in. It was a little bit more built up than that, I feel.
Oh, regardless, all I'm saying is that I like that. I thought I enjoy that there doesn't seem to be like like it doesn't seem like there's gonna be some weird fucking bullshit like that doesn't even like any surprises really from now on. Like it seems to be like a pretty straight ride, which I quite like. Um, just how we're gonna get there is
Right.
to be left up to the show. Just overall, I think the pacing of each episode has been pretty good too. I do I kind of enjoy a sort of situation where pretty much every episode ends with some sort of stinger or like something to look like some major thing to look forward to like next time essentially.
Right,
Um,
right.
it doesn't just like end and you're leaving a question in your mind like, well, what's going to happen like in the next episode, like oh, we're going on a new adventure. It's like, no, it's setting you up pretty clearly for what's going to happen next.
Right.
So I quite like that. Trying to think what else. Yeah, I don't know. It's got a good OP, got a good ED. Got I think the director the director's the Mob Psycho director, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Yeah, he's the mob
It
psycho
is.
director. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
I do want to say that like uh although I'm not particular, like I don't really buy too much what they're trying to sell me in terms of, oh, what if it's like, but does the society really need to take down blah blah blah? But like, what if you do have value and all that? The usual hullabaloo, right?
Yeah, I don't
But
know, man. I've only watched 2 episodes, but the whole Megacorp thing, it raises so many fucking red flags for me. Like,
I mean, at
I
least
do.
by now, by halfway, like 7 episodes in, that's really not like the corporation isn't much of a big deal in the sense of like it being a corporation. It's more of just like
yeah, I mean, what the
them being
corporation
like, we're gonna tear it down.
is irrelevant. The fact that it is a monolithic presence that is ruling over humanity is the issue. Like, it's that's so many red flags. Like, it's just this crazy alien force that's doing crazy things with humanity, and they don't know what's gonna happen. It's like, I don't know. It's so generic.
I do want.
Maybe they've done something interesting with it in this series. I don't know, but like, to me, it's not impressive.
Mhm. Um, I just want to say that I how do I say? Um, I do again. I don't. I think the question of the whole like productive society versus we got to root out the people who don't have as much value, blah blah blah, that thing is not handled very particularly well usually these days, especially in sort of lighter medium or in terms of what people consider more casual media like anime. But one thing I do kind of like with Decadence is that like the way it sets up its sci-fi, it's a very sort of like it's a much older version, a very straight up like older version of SF slash sci-fi, because it's like usually with modern sci-fi these days, it's like a lot of it's like we have biotechnology, But what is that really a good thing? Or like there is more nanotechnology, but is that a good thing? You know, all that stuff. It's like this one is very, very like straight up old school, like, all right. So your world is like ruled by, cyborgs and this, the machine god that kind of rules your very existence, right? Is that it's like what do you do in this? It's sort of that thing where it's like it's not really using it doesn't really use technology as a focus point for its ethics. It's like saying, all right, technology has already kind of taken over your life. Now, what are you going to do with your life, kind of thing, right? Um, that sort of, uh, I do admit I sort of have like a fetish for that sort of older line of older sort of strain of science fiction. So I have to give it some points, but I do wish they were a little bit more creative with regards to uh, what lesson it was going to teach in terms of ethics. So that's just the point I want to make.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah. Anyways, any last words, Dork?
Not really.
Okay. But yeah, definitely a series that I think we should have covered, but I'm glad we did it a little bit later instead of doing like episode one. All right, they're killing stuff, and then we're done. I am very glad that we did cover it later, and thank you very much, Dark, for helping to cover it. And with that, we are finally on to the news, and I do say news, but there's really not much of it. There's like 3 pieces of like actual news. Um, so the first piece is this might some people might already know this, but the piracy anime and manga websites Kiss Anime and Kiss Manga were inaccessible as of I believe last Sunday. When accessed, both websites state all files are taken down by copyright owners. Site will be closed forever. Thank you for your supports. Posts on the related Discord channel also stated the sites are gone for good, data deleted, and cannot be recovered. The Kiss Anime and Kiss Manga websites link to embedded pirated English, subtitled English dubbed anime, and pirated English translated manga. And people are suspecting it is part of the new copyright law enacted in Japan recently to more further punish those who knowingly download illegally uploaded or pirated manga, magazines, and academic work. But yeah. So I
Truly,
mean,
truly shame that the worst places to stream anime or find manga without downloading it are gone. It's just what'll we do
absolutely the
without
worst.
having it being completely inaccessible on mobile, and
So
then
that is.
having a dozen porn ads. You know?
I'm glad that I for one am glad that Japan has finally decided to cut off one head of the snake. Who knows? Hercules never gotten past his labors if he didn't actually start cutting. You know what I mean?
I
But
mean, I don't know. I just like there were so many people I saw in other discords acting like it was a big fucking deal, and I was like,
mm,
we've been over it in this very Discord, like not our Discord, but the
very
Discord that I was in. I was like, pretty much most of the people there were like, bro, no one else in here has like used either of these sites for at least 2 to 3 years. The reaction most of the people had in there were like, "You still
the end.
using that shit?" But yeah, it's there are like a dozen other streaming services out there that are way better anyway, and don't
Right.
have the worst fucking just impossible to block ads or prevent you from blocking ads. It's another thing too. It's like you're gonna go so far as to pirate anime, but be forced to fucking sit through ads on Kiss Anime anyway because they managed to break most ad blockers on it. Like, okay.
Right. Anyways, that is one head of the Hydra down, and I guess good luck to Japan in taking down the other 59 million heads of the Hydra. Next piece of news. The Japanese government's Agency of Cultural Affairs announced on Monday that the four studios that will participate in its quote unquote Animation Talent Training, Research, and Study Project 20 initiative. The studios Imagica, Usagi.O, Orange, and Tsumugi Akita Anime Lab each produce an animation project from 7 to 10 minutes in length. The works will aim to raise the skill level of existing animators and educate aspiring animators. I mean, again, I think honestly, uh, you know, the Gotobun scandal aside, right? The one where the chief animator for Gotobun no Hanayume was like, look at these fucking nerds, right? Like not drawing these, not scaling the storyboards properly, right? The drawing properly.
Yeah.
But that sort of thing aside, I I just think that there's more than enough like labor going around and supply and just like uh, I think there's more than enough competition going around. I just don't think like there's just not enough proportionate like demand and money flowing around. I don't think the problem is that like people there's I don't think the problem is that like
Problem is that animators aren't getting fucking paid.
yeah, exactly. So nobody wants to like really put up stuff for it. So it's like it's like training. It's like how do it's like aiming to raise the skill level of like U.S. teachers or educate more teachers, right? Isn't going to be a successful program because the idea is that you want to raise the living conditions of teachers and you want to make it so that overall being a teacher is a more appealing proposition, not being like, all right, we should make more teachers. It should be, all right, we should make it so that people want to become teachers. But it's the same with animators. You should make it so that more people want to become proper, stable animators instead of being like, I'm going to either become a successful animator or I'm going to fucking starve on these bean sprouts. Like, you know what I mean? It's a very like I don't know why they're doing this.
Yeah,
It's like,
I mean, a similar thing is happening with the games industry, with people where they're just leaving because the conditions are so
yeah,
shit that
yeah,
they're like,
exactly,
I could go to just a different industry and just be better off. Like I could become a graphic designer and be better off. I
exactly.
could become a website like designer and be better
And
off.
just
I could
do
go
games and
to
do
the
stuff, right?
movie industry and be fucking better off.
Exactly,
Like,
exactly. It's just and the worst part is just like Japan is so like still hell bent on like having terrible business models and like there's still so much bottlenecking between the Japanese market and literally like any other like even the Chinese market, right? Like there's so much potential there, but it's like there's still a lot of bottlenecking in terms of like, Japanese manga doing stuff in the Chinese market, right? Whether it's getting localized or whether it's holding events or whatever it is, right? And it's like it's inexplicable. I don't know. It's like you can't have the manga industry, the animation industry, whatever, being like, yeah, I don't want to make money, and then on the other side have the government pushing animators into a job that doesn't have money. Like, come on. Yeah, exactly. It's like it's that's the worst part where it's like same was just like most animators going into the industry going into it knowing that it's like that's the worst part where it's like you can't it's become like lemmings, right? It's like you can't put this on the animators. You can't put this on, just you gotta just suck it up. You gotta just make better art so that more people see it. It's like there's a limit for that. You have to make the market into a proper model and not, sell anime only inside Japan for like $250 billion a pop and just, fucking something, anything to spread, manga or anime or whatever media into the global population in a proper manner. And it's like, especially nowadays, right? When it's like the in the middle of a global pandemic when Netflix is like stock is like growing 300% its original value in like March or whatever, right? It's like fucking do something. It's so maddening.
Yeah, well, I think one of the big problems is just you see with Japan's fucking stances on trying to combat piracy, and it's like going about it the complete wrong way, where they're
Yeah.
so concerned about ease of access, literally just leading to piracy, to where they're just blinded by the idea that ease of access, even though, yeah, okay, it might be easier for people to like then re-upload that or pirate it or something, but if I can just pay even $60 and just have an account somewhere and just own or be able to download, you know, a season of an anime that I just bought digitally, I will do that. Like,
And it's again,
but
it's
until I
the
can do
spread.
that, I'm
It's
not
like
going
why
to.
yeah, again, it's like it's also about the spread, right? It's like why the fuck? It's like everybody kind of knows like the anime that are translated are the anime that are translated. Is it sounds like a tautology, right? It sounds like oh, obviously the anime that are translated are the anime that's translated. But what people kind of realize when I'm saying this is there's like the stuff that's translated in English is still the very, very tip of the iceberg, right? Even in terms of anime, like that season, right? Uh, at most maybe like 70%, 60%, 70% of the anime get like translated, right? Like a lot of the shorts, a lot of the whatever other stuff out there, right? Still don't get translated. And that's anime, like the most pervasively localized Japanese media stuff, animation media stuff on the market, right? In terms of manga, light novels, visual novels, web novels, whatever. There is literally like English stuff isn't even the tip of the fucking iceberg, right? And I think if there was a company out there, or if there was like a business model out there, or if there was a government project out there that was simply like, okay, let's find out some way to really connect the manga creators and the manga sort of people or the light novel people uh, to the global audience, right? They will like and not only like certain people, but like as many people as possible, right, to the global audience. Then I think that sort of thing will be wildly successful and that'll rake in a lot of money. And uh, but it's just not happening right now, and it's just very disappointing. But anyways, that's my rant number 359 on Japanese anime industry done. But good luck to the project, I guess. And that was pretty much it for non-people news for today. The only other sort of person news I wanted to bring up was the fallout from Actage. The entertainment companies HoriPro and HoriPro International announced on Tuesday that they decided to cancel the stage play of Tatsuya Matsuki and Shiro Suzaki's Actage manga. That's mainly because of the scandals that happened recently, because Matsuki, the main author behind Octage, was arrested on suspicion of committing an indecent act with a female middle school student last Saturday, I believe. According to police, the girl, or no, more than last Saturday, at least like 3 weeks ago. According to police, the girl was walking in the Nakano ward of Tokyo on June 18th at 8 p.m. when the suspect approached the girl from behind while on a bicycle and touched her inappropriately. But all this crap later got caught, and now there's been huge fallout.
Later got caught and basically admitted
And
immediately to it.
no, the worst part was he did it twice, and both of us on camera. And he's like, "Yeah, I probably did it."
It did not happen.
Yeah, it did not happen exactly. So there's been fallout, obviously, and this obviously that's horrible, and the guy should be fucking thrown away, whatever. But I kind of had a question. Not like I didn't have a question, but I thought this would be an interesting time to bring it up, real quick. But what are your guys' opinions on these sorts of things where it's like, it's obviously on a much this is on a much smaller scale, But the sort of um the sort of archetypal example of this sort of thing is like O.J. Simpson, right? Or no, not O.J.
I don't know about
Simpson,
that, but
or like how do I say it? Cosby, right, or something like that, where it's like you you have the works, right? You have the works of a man, and then you have the man himself, right? In your guys' opinions, like, do you guys separate the two, or like what?
Well, I gotta, cause you remember the scandal with the Kenshin
Yeah, I
dude?
mean, Rurouni Kenshin is
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
prime
Rurouni
example,
Kenshin
right?
too.
I like Kenshin. It's good stuff. There was also
But
that scandal with the Toriko author soliciting stuff from a little girl, but like I like Toriko.
yeah, I mean, it goes. It's one of those things where, yeah, they might be able to produce something good. Like, you just take proper legal action against it. But
It
you know, it's
depends
it's
on.
it depends. It also depends on how bad it gets, right? Because it's like, I'm trying to think of who, like, if you just start like got rid of essentially anything like, say, like Weinstein worked on, right, or had anything to do with, you can't just get rid of it, and it's gonna be there. So at bet, like, I think the best case is just like whatever money they would normally get, try and like put that to some charity or something else. I don't know. Because there's
mm,
always going to be a market for their work to begin with. I just feel
Yeah,
right,
but
like.
like Weinstein was out here creating. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
know. That's why, like, I was trying to think of an equal example. Like, I would say maybe Michael Jackson, but he was found innocent of everything, so he did nothing wrong. So it's hard to say, right?
Yeah, like I don't know. I've never really I don't know, because like there have been incidents where like say for example a band I like, right, and like an artist, the like one of the lead artists like dies or something, right, like that will sour my uh impression like when I listen to their music, right, because I'll remember that happened and I'll feel bad. But like I don't know. I feel like if tomorrow it was like, oh yeah, Kentaro Miura is a serial rapist, right? I'd
right,
still like Berserk,
right,
you know?
right,
Like
right.
I, I don't know.
The,
I
the,
think I think
there's a
unless
second
there's
question though. Would you still say you like Berserk and then kind of like drop off in terms of reading it, or like what would your reading habits be after that? Like
well,
regardless of your thoughts on the series.
I guess it depends on how the series is handled, right? Because in terms of because like with uh Kenshin, right? Rurouni Kenshin, um, you know, the guy basically got a slap on the wrist, right? Um, but if it's something more severe and uh like the creator gets legitimately jailed and he can't continue his work, but then some I guess like Jump or something, whatever the publisher is like, well, this needs to continue, and so they get like their assistants to like continue on with their work or whatever, right? I feel like maybe I drop off because then it's not really like them working on it, and then I feel like at that point it's not even like really the original thing at that point, right? Like it's just somebody else kind of doing the work. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of nuance to this question. Right?
Hmm.
It depends on uh, like if there was a manga about like uh, a serial killer that was fucking terrorizing Japan, and it turns out that the creator was a fucking serial killer. um I think I'd feel a little bit weirder, right, because then it's obvious that the creator was putting like the fucked up shit that they were doing into their work,
Or
right,
self-inserting,
like that was some sort of like uh
projecting, kind of.
yeah, like yeah, almost like they were like fetishizing what they were doing and like
Right,
by like
exactly.
putting it out into the world, right.
Yeah,
um
glorifying. Yeah.
I feel like I would I would feel wrong for continuing to read something like that.
Hmm.
But like, I mean, yeah, it makes it more interesting from like a psychological standpoint, but it's still like fucked up to I don't know. I would feel really weird continuing to read a series like that if something like that happened. Um, but if it's just like a general series and then it's like, oh, the author touched somebody inappropriately. I personally I wouldn't feel bad about enjoying the series because like just because the author did something bad doesn't they can't also be like creatively gifted.
Right, right. It's
That's my stance on it.
okay. Uh, but yeah, I just uh for me, it's definitely like a mixed bag because uh, uh, it's overall always a very emotional issue, right? Viewing, enjoying something or whatever it is, it's always like again, it's a very emotional thing, right? It's not like there are definitely objective parts to it, but at the end of the day, like I like this because blah blah, or like I don't like this because blah blah. It's always very like tinted, but I I think I do speak for a lot of us when we say like we probably do kind of try to at least on the conscious level try to separate what happens in terms of the art from what happens with the artist, right? So
Well, I would also say that, and not to diminish like sort of like the severity of this situation, but people do that on every level literally all the time anyway. Like, so, like, first of all, the only people who would know about something like this are the people who are tuned in anyway. Like, there are definitely plenty of people that are reading and consuming content that have no idea about any of the news that, like, directors or, like, manga artists are getting into, anything like that. Like, they have no fucking clue whatsoever. So it's like,
mhm.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are going to be able to make that disconnection in like even Western media. We have it like uh, sort of like current events. Look at the Ellen show. Like a bunch of shit comes out
Yeah,
about the Ellen show, and they're like, not only are these executives not great, she's not really nice. It's like, yeah, actually, if you were in tune with anything that Ellen's ever done for stand up, you would have known that Ellen was not a nice bubbly person all the time. That
right,
once the
exactly.
cameras are off, that's just a fucking thing she does like on the show. Like she might not be like a massive bitch to everyone in real life, but she does like raunchy humor. She's not dancing down the fucking streets. Like
Right, exactly.
um and then the same deal with fuck, what's his name? Uh, he does like the car karaoke stupid shit, and I don't know, rants about how people shouldn't say he's fat. Gordon, as his name. That British guy or whatever. What is he?
Mm,
Australian maybe? Gordon. People are
yeah,
just
James Gordon.
Gordon
yeah. People
Ramsay,
are.
where shit came out where he's like not paying his employees.
Oh, that came out too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Corden was like, people are just figuring out like, wait a minute, he's an asshole. It's like, yeah, if you read any encounter with this person that's not on camera, he's a massive fucking douchebag. Like he's just rude to people in restaurants, any sort of like public space where he doesn't get his way. Like he's just insanely and unreasonably rude. It's like, yeah, if you just read about that, you know, but there's way more people that just aren't tuned into that whatsoever, because as soon as like that content essentially that they're producing is gone, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, it's again just whatever your viewpoint is on, it's like it always ends up being a very unfortunate kind of evaluation at the end. But we can all agree that the people who did the artists, at least themselves, should be pretty much shamed, regardless of how much you like their work or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much all the news we have for tonight, and all we have left are the shoutouts and callouts. Everybody here gets one shoutout and one callout each, and the shoutout can be one thing that they want to shout to the heavens about, 5 out of 5, whatever. And that can be about any person, place, or thing. And a callout is, of course, the exact opposite here, and just rant about whatever you want. And I guess I'll go first. Call out to HP printer series, because to kind of download a lot, kind of mess around with a lot of them, you have to fucking download this app, but the app can only be downloaded through Microsoft Store, and Microsoft Store is broken half the time. So I had to spend like fucking a couple of days trying to just fix Microsoft Store just so I can download the HP driver app. And then so I could finally install the printer and stuff like that. So fuck that shit. As for our shout out, how do I say this? Oh, I actually want to shout out the manga I got introduced to recently. What is it? Was it? It's like Arasa or something like that. What is it? Arasa mama no watashi de ii no? Or whatever is it? It's like I'm around 30 and like a mother, but it's like, am I okay? It's like, am I are you all right with that? Is, I believe, I guess the localized title in a sense, right? But it's a cute series, and it has an older woman, and then it has the MC kind of trying to come for her. It's all really good art, and it's like light and fun. So shout outs to that. Near, what is your shout out and call out?
Oh man. I think I will shout out fuck it. I'll just shout out Shadowverse. Mini X Pack's kind of fun. It's cool that the ladder has gotten a little bit more diverse. They nerfed Shadowcraft, which was fucking busted. They nerfed what else was it? Was it a Either way, they nerfed two of the decks that were really fucking strong. They were pretty much like the only thing you'd ever find on ladder. I think it was the Swordcraft card. But no, it was just Forestcraft card. Yeah, this card was busted. Yeah, they nerfed the like Forestcraft turn 6 OTK. It was really fucking gay. And they nerfed Shadowcraft's one of Shadowcraft's card that was like a humongous tempo swing that you could get out really early. So ladder's a lot more diverse. There's a lot more, Portalcraft, which is a class that kind of just disappears sometimes. A lot more Swordcraft, which is usually consistent, but unfortunately it brought back Spell Boost Rune, which is like, I don't know how it always comes back somehow, but yeah. But yeah, Shadowverse is fun sometimes. For my call out, it's gonna be a big one. So recently, Epic Games,
Yeah.
they tried to pull the wool over Apple's eyes, and they did something where like they did like an agreement for like the cut that Apple would get for like their microtransactions, the V-Bucks. And like as they were doing that, they lowered the cost of the V-Bucks, so that way Apple would essentially not be getting any fucking money at all, right?
Well, I don't know if it was that. I think it was that Apple just takes 30% of
Was it? I
whatever.
thought they were getting like a different deal. But
I
either
don't
way,
know if they were getting a different deal or not, but what they did
either
was
way,
they did a
yeah,
different type of in-app purchase that just wouldn't
yeah.
go through the App Store.
They basically tried to fuck over Apple, right? And Apple was like, okay, well, fuck you, get off the App Store, right? Um, which perfectly reasonable, really.
Well,
If
not
you try
only
to
that,
fuck
it was
over,
just revert. They also still have it open to just reverse it and then come back on the App Store. Like,
yeah,
they're not even permanently banned. They were like, as long as you re-agree to those terms and you don't try and circumvent our payment process, then you can come back.
right. Um, perfectly reasonable response from Apple. Um, you know, typically if you try to fuck over a company, on their store, they'll kind of kick you off. Um, but for some reason, Epic decided to play like the most ironic fucking marketing thing of all time, and they decided to start referencing George Orwell's 1984, and they were
Yeah,
like
I saw that. It's
basically
great.
implying that they're being a fucking oppressed by Apple because they got kicked off the store. And
Hashtag free Fortnite.
yeah, they're doing this fucking absolutely like genuine cringe fucking like hashtag of 1980 Fortnite, which is like just the fucking dumbest thing. Um, and they're trying to like essentially weaponize like their literal children player base to I guess bully Apple back into letting them on the store while still fucking them over. Um,
What I want to know. Do the people who play Fortnite even know what 1984 is?
no. Fucking
No, they
Zoomers,
don't
dude.
know
They're
what
like 13 years
1984
old.
is, and they sure as shit don't know how any of this process that just happened that got them kicked off the store works either. So,
It's so dumb. It's like
I
I
mean,
don't know
it's
how
disgusting, honestly.
a company like Epic Games, who recently have literally made a name for themselves by being, you know, uh, extremely predatory in like trying to buy up space in the marketplace in terms of PC gaming, um, can turn around and be like, "Oh no, Apple's oppressing us because they're not letting us onto their storefront." It's so I don't know. It's
I
so
mean, it's also
like
just like for
tone
free.
deaf. Like it's fucking insane. Um, I don't know. It's really gross. And it's extremely gross when companies try to be like, you know, I'm a humongous megacorp, but this humongous megacorp is like oppressing us. It's so stupid. I fucking hate it. I hate companies so much, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just like disgusting that they're blatantly just trying to use like 12-year-olds as a fucking army against Apple, which also like won't work because it's like all of your users aren't getting the money to pay for their skins from themselves. They're getting it from their parents. So
I,
realistically, their parents aren't going to fucking care. So good luck with that part as well. I don't like they're just going to have a bunch of people bitching to them on Twitter. Also, Apple can take the hit, so it's extremely weird. Like they
yeah,
were
I
doing
mean,
just fine before Fortnite. They're going to be
Apple really
doing just
doesn't
fine
care
after
monetarily.
Fortnite.
But like in terms of because Epic is also suing Apple, which I think is fucking absolutely just a really really bad idea. Um, but also like trying to weaponize your player base, your consumer base against the company you're suing is probably a really bad idea because a company like Apple can turn that into a really like just like they can turn that for their defense like so easily, and the court's gonna see that and be like, "Well,
Oh yeah, I mean
you guys are just fucking stupid."
they had the very dumb idea to sell like the original Apple like logo hats in the shape of like the llama from Fortnite. Now, I'm sure the color scheme might be different or something just to avoid copyright or whatever, but it's very clearly supposed to be the classic like Apple Macintosh like rainbow bar logo. I don't know if they're going to be able to argue that, but I can't imagine that Apple doesn't have lawyers good enough to find something there. So,
Yeah, it's so
Godspeed
poorly
to
thought
Epic.
out.
They
Like,
may lose a lot on this, and it's not a good
yeah,
gamble.
pretty much everything Epic has done in this like span of events has probably been like the worst possible thing they could do. Um, and they're still playing the victim. It's pretty phenomenal. But yeah, fuck companies.
Yeah, it's ironic too because I was like kind of with Epic with like, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna pay money to developers and make it an exclusive on your easily accessible storefront, like, sure, I'm not ecstatic about it, but like, you're giving them money and it's just it's a launcher on my computer, you know? So like that I was whatever with. But like this, they've just completely lost me. I'm just like, I don't. Someone said in chat, Andre in chat said Epic is big enough to battle with Apple in court. They're really not.
They're not.
Like they're not.
Keep
Apple
in
is
mind,
a
Apple is the
$1 trillion corporation.
yeah.
Epic is
Apple
not.
is
Epic
fucking
is
massive.
not.
Epic is not that big.
Epic
Like
has a
Epic,
lot of money. Epic's big, but they're not Apple big. Again,
yeah.
Apple was doing just fine before Epic had anything to do with the Apple Store. They will do just fine without them.
It's a really bad idea. I don't know. But yeah.
Okay. Anyways, that shouting call. Move on to Dark.
Yeah, hey man, all right. Let's see. Yeah, all right. I'll do this for my shout out. I'm gonna give a shout out to Kit Boga. Kit Boga on Twitch and YouTube. I've just been watching a lot of his like calling up scammers, like scam bait videos. And they're just fun because he just pisses away their time pretending to be like old people and like doing like these elaborate improv bits and everything. And some of them get really ridiculous. And they're lighthearted too. Like none of them are very aggressive, which is fun. It's more like on the scammer essentially to escalate, and then like Kit never really escalates. He just like basically talks over them to piss them off. uh, and it's just good fun because it's a very clean channel, very clean content in that sense. So I do prefer that honestly over other like scam baiter channels that might like try and actually like dox the scammer. Like I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with completely just fucking over like scammers, but as far as me watching that content, it's just not as enjoyable to me as like watching Kit pretend to be like an old woman and just ramble and piss off these scammers for like 10 hours at a time.
Right,
So,
exactly.
yeah, it's a very fun, like slow burn with a lot of these people. So,
Okay.
that's been cool. I'm trying to think what else. Oh yeah, so for my call out, fuck it, I'll call out. I'm gonna call out Gutex.
Oh my god.
Calling out Gutex for that RCAP post because that shit was so funny. Like,
Dude, pandemic's over.
yeah, so Gutex basically doesn't believe the coronavirus is real in the slightest. Like, not even like See, for me, it was just a matter of I underestimated how fucking stupid the American people are, which I shouldn't have. But, I was out here being optimistic. Like, yeah, dude, we'll just wear a mask, we'll stay inside, we'll fucking stay 6 feet apart for like 3 months and it'll be over. Then, the second half of America had a completely different idea and decided to do what I didn't think was possible and have a second epicenter for an epidemic. But, or pandemic. Anyway, so Gutex doesn't believe it's real. And he made a post on R Kappa that was like, I don't even really know what the point was. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what he did originally. But I guess he was on something. He said some dumb shit again, and then he went to R Kappa to like fucking try and play the good guy, and like be like, I thought we were the same people, but then followed that up with like, I thought we were all the same. Like R Kappa used to get a bad rap for being fringe, but not only that, but like racist and far right at times. And so it just turned into like, bro, like what the fuck are you talking about? Like you're trying to imply that you wish our Kappa was more racist than alt-right so they'd agree with you? Like I don't understand. So it turned into a whole disaster, and then he proceeded to cap it off with a link that I still haven't clicked and will never click, and most people in the comments had also said they're not even engaging with the link because it's a hyperlink that he made himself with his own
Okay.
text. It's a hyperlink he made with his own text on our Kappa, but then not only is it like that, when you hover over it, it doesn't even have the destination. It's just a bit.ly link. So I'm like, nah, dude, I'm not checking out your fucking what's the deal with hydrochloroquine fucking link on Reddit that you for some reason have running through bit.ly. Like, nah, I'm alright. But yeah, he basically made an ass of himself. But it
Yeah.
did give me massive enjoyment to see him say, I thought you guys were racist and alt-right. Why don't you agree with me? Like, well, okay. Very bold play, but it didn't pay off. So
Is it racist to call someone else a racist?
What?
no, but
How would that be? Never mind.
Anyways,
Really makes you wonder who the real racists are.
all right. Anyways,
all right. Also, a follow-up, a link I just clicked is a fun tweet from him that says, in case it's not clear, the top viewed thread is me linking to an article I wrote asking for feedback. Is my research peer reviewed? No, because it seems
Oh
none
yeah,
of
I
my
saw that.
peers will review it. I'm not a doctor, so there should be no shortage of peers, which is not how
Yeah,
peer
it's
reviewing a
not.
medical article
Yeah,
works.
not how peer reviewing works. You don't just get people to look at it and say, "Yeah, seems good."
can we
Yeah,
please-
he also, I guess, thinks that to peer review something, it's actual peers. So in your age group and occupation or level of education, and not related to the actual content you're trying to put forward. But hey,
So
No.
wait, are you saying this podcast is not a peer review?
I believe not. Toast. Thank you for asking, though. But
Damn.
anyway, thank you, Dork, for your shout out and call out. And Fad, we move on to Toast.
I already went.
Oh wait, yeah, you did. Never mind.
Did
Sorry.
you?
Wait, no, you didn't.
Damn, near.
I was gonna say my memory's not
Damn
that
it,
bad.
near. All right, I almost had him.
Because I usually have an order set in mind. It's just
My shout out, Hololive 5th generation. I can't believe they got YouTube play buttons before they even debuted, before a first stream.
I can.
yeah. I mean, I can. But
My
anyway,
favorite is Nene, because she
Why?
was super nervous and it was pretty funny.
okay. So what about your call out?
Call, you know what it's about. Don't
Mm,
don't dox
no.
people, nerds. Wrong.
Okay.
You know who you are.
Yes, but okay. Yeah,
What
sure.
the thing that happened is one thing, but for you to dox them is another thing entirely. This is why Japan has a negative negative image with the rest of the world.
Okay.
Weirdos.
All right.
How many I mean, I won't go there.
Yeah. All right then. But
Support all the way when she comes back.
all right.
Don't one more week.
Anyways, thank you, Toast.
Support
Oh,
me. You know what? No, I'm gonna go there. Support Mia when she comes back. Support Miko when she comes back. Yeah, they're still gone too.
okay. Anyways,
Support us.
yes. Thank you, Toast.
What's that chick's name?
Mm,
500k subs. She's not Hololive. She was competing with Fubuki that one time until Fubuki surpassed her.
then
She's OG.
I
She
don't
she
know.
she was on Virtual Sun.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Tsukino Mito. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Support her. I heard she what's it called? I heard people hated her voice when she changed
Whatever.
it for
All
that
right,
one
Toast, can we stop
stream.
listening to virtual YouTubers?
No.
Thank you.
No.
All right. Anyways, thank you, Toast, for your shout out and call out. And with that, we are done with the episode. Again, we're pretty much already at the end of the anime season in a sense. We're going to do one more, I believe, cast after this. That is a review. Um, just rounding up what we have left of the summer 2020 seasons, and then we're gonna bum rush pretty much fall 2020 season or preview straight away. And as usual with the recent pandemic and everything, the schedule is going to be a little bit wonky. We might have roundtables here. We might have some reviews there. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, we'll let you know ahead of time. Uh, Thank you to all the listeners out there and all the viewers in here who are watching our live recording of the podcast that we do every other Saturday starting from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast. That's with the numeral 4, where we talk about the latest and greatest in Japanese animation media, anime, manga, light novel, web novel, visual novels, and so much more. So check us out here during that time. Check us out on our highlights /VODs on the Twitch page if you missed it, as well as on our YouTube channel, so you can choose whichever media that you please. Check us out on our social media as well on Twitter at 4PPAnimecast and on Facebook 4PlayAnimecast. And yeah, we'll see you next time.